Okay, remember that they are changing my voice. This video is about my official stance on rape by deception. Now, a huge part of understanding it is understanding, the social, political, and economic system, right, that we have in society in a sort of straightforward and summarized way, if you will, in a way that's in a nutshell, that really covers the fundamentals. And so let's start it with Egypt, right? The first known kind of empire, really organized civilization in the ancient world. Sumer really was basically just a bunch of nerds compared to the Egyptians. They aren't the type of people who are true leaders, and so they didn't give us a very solid example of how a civilization or empire is supposed to be. We look at the racial controversy in regards to Egypt. We see that they're clearly depicted as black. The core Egyptian group that kind of gave them their culture. We see, group of groups, we see that they've done studies in the past where they found that there was sub-Saharan African DNA, African Great Lakes, what have you. And we also see that the science departments, in regards to things that are historically connected to Eurocentrism, cannot be trusted. There are LGBT groups and liberal groups, as well as conservative groups and libertarian groups that are concerned with Egypt in regards to their religion, their social activities, even their sex cults, their corporate themes, their social standing. Now, if one of two things were to happen, it would be bad for society, and it would be wrong. One is if people were to deny that the ancient Egyptians were black and from black patriarchal lines, regardless of how much they're mixed, okay, in terms of the first dynasty Egypt, okay, Narmer and so on and so forth. Two is if they were to admit that they're black, but say that they were like Carlton or Obama or someone in the military or police or a WWF fighter or Michael J. White, okay, or the common African bushman or a Rasta, right? They weren't like any of these common black cultures. It was a martial art order. Horus is a deity of war, and that has to do with hand-to-hand combat, arrows, what have you. It has to do with martial arts first and foremost, right? Single combat, the Narmer palette. Okay, with that being said, I'm sure you can understand the implications as all these sex cults, even Crowley, they tend to dabble in Egyptian mythology. And so they're deceiving people as to who is the expert on it, making that their theme, using their trickle-down blood money they got from exploiting people, including black people, and they're controlling sexual behavior to a large degree, with the corporations and the governments helping them out and downplaying it, what have you. So that's pretty straightforward. So we can immediately say that it's a rape by deception system, and no one can deny it, especially developed nations, right? It's a global rape by deception system with various compartments and components, but especially the American compartment, the UK, Israel, what have you. So my official stance on rape by deception. Point number one, white, Jewish, and LGBT social clubs, corporations, political groups, and other groups and entities organized to control the cultures on the planet with token minorities that are often related to them. Okay, Obama said he's related to, I believe, Dick Cheney, for example. Okay, so most people would agree with that right away. So let's get to point number two. Point number two, the massive networks of the governing class work to control moods, sentiments, behaviors, and decisions, etc. The decisions of the masses, okay, in order to prevent the more decent of them, the more decent of the people, from choosing to live a moral life in reality. Obviously, this keeps them from having sound decisions in regards to dating. Okay, point number three. People do not truly understand the difference between pretending to make love, right? They don't understand the difference between pretending to make love and actually making love, right? Love is derived from justice and righteousness. Pretending is psychology or propaganda or, just being a gold digger. Basically, nobody's making love these days, and that is, a solid proof, because they're not doing what's right. True love is a righteous love, and only God and I are righteous, and my parents are blameless, so nobody is making love. They're really old and so on and so on. Okay. Point number 4. The attractive females of every race would not date their oppressor if they were not drastically manipulated by people using organized rape by deception. I hold that to be very self-evident, right? When someone has sense, they are not going to date their oppressor, regardless of their oppressor's race, okay? They're not going to date the white, Jewish, and LGBT oppressors, and they would not date the token minorities helping them out. They would not date the masses of people for their role in oppressing everybody. If they truly, had sense and had the sense to consent instead of being sent by the con. Thus the word consent, right? Point number 5. Now, if we look at, say a young Jim Carrey, who's a typical frat-like person, or a young Rick Moranis, who is the typical nerd, or ogres and WWF types, Bart Simpson and skater types, Prince Humperdinck, Prince Harry, Prince William types, rockers, jocks, farmers, businessmen, etc., we can immediately ascertain that they would not get attractive females if things were fair, because they're too mediocre. They're just conformists, they're pushovers, there's nothing great about them. No offense to anybody, these are the facts here. And of course, that includes bikers and so on. One just rolled up, so reminded me, right? Anyway, point 6. People often say good guys finish last and are thrown under the bus, etc. Why is that? Point number 7. Marketing, propaganda, social sciences, including psychology, trickle-down peer pressure, gossip, and more, are used to manipulate people. 8. Males are called players and dogs. Females are often called, males are often called players and dogs. Females are often called tricks and whores and hoes and sluts and whatnot. And this is not just true when people are talking about skaters and bikers and jocks and thugs and gangsters. It's like with every group, okay? And that goes back to the game, and the word game is made scrambled, and that's not a coincidence, right? Illusion, ill-gotten gains, trickery. Point number 9. Frats and social clubs are very concerned with controlling, fraternizing, who fraternizes with who, and socializing. Point number 10. Corporations, families, and other groups have rules in regards to dating. So corporations, families, and other groups have rules in regards to dating. Point number 11. Point number 11, mind control technologies are used and the signs are everywhere. Point number 12, people have a just let them do mentality, and that is a sign of their conditioning. Point number 13, people are confused in an organized manner. Point number 14, obviously some groups benefit more than others in the organized rape by deception construct, right? And they use subtle coercion, sometimes obvious coercion, trickery, psychology, confusion, and more in the process, in the system. These things are used. Okay. Point number 15, kids are often victimized. And the last point number 16, people still haven't corrected their mistake. So imagine how obvious that is when you look at them. Why haven't they corrected their mistake in 2023, and why are attractive females dating some of these people? Okay, so I was harassed during the course of making this video. And over the years, I've asked many people about the wordplay and if they thought it was valid. And they agreed that it's valid, right? Wordplay. The word play, P, lay, and P, lay, ear, right? Missing out, right? A mistake, right? Missed, a key. Key is basically, it's like the word chi is another word for key in martial arts culture and in Buddhist religion, what have you. Also in Igbo culture to a certain degree, but there has a nuanced meaning. Okay. And we have many other words like this: prepare, pre-rape, compare, cum-rape, mock-rape. These things are connected, and that makes it clear, right? Meal, melee, food, faux-du, and faux-odd, and grub, G-rub,